Let's take a look at Friday's games in the NBA. There are 8 games on. Who do we stream in? Where are the injuries? What's important? We've got to do it. Fantasy basketball, Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and yes, I sat on the fake seizure guy. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates that you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. That is linkedin.com/lockedonnba to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We're available on all of the platforms, and we're here on YouTube too, so thumb it up and ring the bell. Thanks for doing it. It's been great. Let's hit those subscribe buttons. Don't unsubscribe. Hit it to subscribe. Let's hit 75,000. That would be sick if we could get there. Let's do it. 8 games on Friday. Let's look ahead to what we need to look ahead to. Me and Dan Titus in the mailbag earlier today, and we talked at length about the Karl Anthony Towns injury in that one, so you can go back and check the info. We'll talk Wolves in this show as well. But let's go on to the first game of the day. It is the New Orleans Pelicans and the Philadelphia 76ers. We're talking schedule as well on this show. Be aware. Friday, Sunday, nearly every team we talk about plays Friday, Sunday. Also be aware of that. The Pelicans go Friday, Sunday, and then next week they only have 3 games. Really bad schedule for them because they don't play Monday, Tuesday. So 2 games off to begin the week. They play Wednesday, Friday, Saturday next week. So there's a nice little 3-game in 4-night stretch there. But you don't play for 2 days and then you miss on Sunday. The Sixers, they play Friday, Sunday this week. And then they go Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Really even schedule. So that's basically every other day. Friday, off. Sunday, off. Tuesday, off. Thursday, off. Then Saturday. So on, off, on, off, on, off. You know how it goes. Dyson Daniels is out for the Pelicans. Maxey remains out for the Sixers with his concussion. Maybe he's a pretty good chance, I would say, to return on Sunday. Embiid is out. Lowry returns from the rest last game. Melton is out, and Covington is out. For the Pelicans, Trey Murphy's been going off. Big game last time out. Really hard to feel super confident in the overall production, but with Daniels out, he has been given extra minutes, and we like what he's doing. Next week, though, when there is that little gap at the start of the week and only 3 games on, is that a must-hold? It probably is, but that's going to depend a lot on what you're doing with the rest of your squad. Paul Reed is back starting for the Sixers. Well, he was last game. Let's see if that happens again. And he would have been in line for a huge game last time out, but he got dragged 4 minutes into the first quarter as they were down big to the Grizzlies. And then he played 24 the rest of the night. So I played 20 for the rest of the night. I think he can hit 28 in some of these games, but there's always the risk of a benching. But Nick Nurse has figured out again the bump is terrible, so he doesn't play. So I think Reed is relatively secure at the moment. In terms of guys getting boosted, Herbalife Jones is getting a ton. Now, the Pelicans are involved in so many blowouts, so that does reduce minutes at times, but Herb is getting a lot. And then for the Sixers, they're starting Kyle Lowry, and I expect they start Kyle Lowry again and not Cameron Payne. So, actually, they could start Payne again with Maxey out, so it's probably going to be Lowry and Payne, to be honest. So Lowry's value is fine to stream in, honestly. There's enough value in what Kyle is doing with some assist numbers that he's at least in your discussion for being a 12-team league guy, which, again, it sounds crazy, but he's in that zone. The next game we look at is the Charlotte Hornets and the Washington Wizards. And just as I've hit record, the Hornets released an injury report. And yes, LaMelo Ball is out. Yes. The Hornets do play Friday, Saturday this week, so they don't play Sunday. They've got a back-to-back coming up. And then they go 4 games next week. Now remember, in week 21, the Hornets have 2 games. We've talked about this all season. The 2-game week for the Hornets. But leading up to that, they've got the best schedule. They've got 6 games in the next 9 nights. They've got the best schedule, and then it goes terrible after that. So Friday, Saturday, and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. But then after that Saturday next week, they don't play Sunday, and then 2 games the week after is dreadful. For the Wizards, they play Friday, Sunday, and then they've got 4 games next week too. Tuesday, Thursday, and then the Saturday, Sunday weekend back-to-back. Ball is out. I'm not going to be putting Mark Williams on this sheet anymore. I'm just ruling him out for the season. Cody Martin's out. Seth Curry is out. But we did get an update just as I hit record as well. And I was joking about Ball. He's obviously out. But we've got an update that Trey Mann has actually just popped onto the injury report as questionable, which is not ideal because I think Mann was going to be a pretty good streamer. And in fact, when we get to stream of the day at the end, like his name's going to be on it. Obviously, we've got to be cautious with that if he plays or not. We don't have the update yet for the Wizards in terms of their injury because Marvin Bagley missed the last game with a back. I would suggest that Bagley doesn't play, but I'm not sure. Grant Williams is getting some extra minutes at center. He is still Grant Williams. I'm not super interested, but the schedule does tip you over a little bit. The back-to-back is great. The 4 games next week in 6 nights is great, and that's a little bit of value there on old Grant. Corey Kispert for the Wizards was dreadful last game. He got early fouls, but if Bagley is out, I think he starts again. And if you did add him, don't drop him because you don't expect 4 fouls in like 15 minutes or whatever he got in that game. He's up and down for sure, but I think there's value in him. Guys getting boosted at the moment. Vasilije Micic just needs to be rostered everywhere. The schedule's awesome. Got to be rostered. And the other one to watch is Rashawn Holmes. Now, he had a pretty good game last time. He shot 83%. That's not going to be the norm. I don't think that he starts in place of Marvin Bagley, especially not against this Hornets team. But Holmesy can have 12 and 7, a block, 60% shooting. That's enough to at least make some noise. And, again, they've got a solid schedule. 6 games in 10 nights versus the Hornets 6 in 9. I'm not massively into Holmes. I'm not really that, looking at him as an ad. But the value is somewhat boosted here for him at this point. The next game is your Minnesota Timberwolves. They are taking on the equally banged up Cleveland Cavaliers. The Wolves go Friday, Sunday, and then next week's bad. It's Tuesday and Saturday, 2 games only. 4 games in the next 10 nights for Minnesota. That's obviously very, very bad. Cleveland has Friday and Sunday, and then they go 3 games next week, Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Towns is out, I'm guessing, right? Woj's tweet was very confusing. I haven't got an update on that yet. There's no way that Towns is playing Thursday. Like, we can rule that one out. He's out Thursday. That's already happened. But I don't think he's coming back and playing Friday. So I'm fairly confident that Towns won't play. Jordan McLaughlin's questionable for Thursday, so we'll see whether he's available Friday. Don Mitchell will be out for Cleveland. Evan Mobley will be out for Cleveland. And they did just update it as well that the Winter Soldier, Max Strus, is also out while Tristan Thompson remains suspended. So Mitchell, Mobley, Strus, and Thompson all out for the Cavs. The Wolves are on a back-to-back, like we said. I will be very stunned if it's not Kyle Anderson starting. Naz Reid has started 0 games all season. Anderson's the guy that replaces Towns. Maybe they switch it up, but that has not been the case at all. And like I said with Dan earlier today, looking at Reid, who's been, honestly, not very good most of the season. I know there were people who tell you how awesome he's been. He's not. He's not even a top 100 player. He's had a nice little hot streak at the moment. He's not close to it. He's like top 100. He's 125th or something. He's not even close to it, right? And the last couple of games have been strong. But I don't think that Naz Reid with 2 games next week is going to be worth holding. That's going to depend a lot when your playoff start and what your matchup is or all that sort of stuff. But no, he's not. Neither's Kyle Anderson. Neither's Jaden McDaniels. Karis LeVert is the guy we want to watch for Cleveland. He can really brutalize both percentages, but the role is going to be increased with no Strus and no Mitchell. Guys getting boosted there, of course, Kyle Anderson's the big boost guy there for Minnesota, as well as Reid, obviously. Do we ever sneak any Luka Garza minutes? Probably not. But we need to watch Anderson, Reid, and McDaniels. And Isaac Okoro getting the big bump. No Mobley, no Strus. Last game they started Okoro and Niang. They could go back to Merrill, although he's been dreadful the last 2 games. But Okoro feels a little bit safer in terms of minutes floor, but even production floor. Imagine thinking that Okoro's scoring and shooting value is more stable than Merrill's, but it literally has been the last 2 games. Pretty amazing stuff. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors because our partners over at eBay Motors once a week are teaming up with me to bring you some of the best fantasy picks each week all season long. So when you're out there scouting the waiver wire, looking for that player that's going to give you the guys that are, I'm going to try and give you the guys that are guaranteed to fit on your roster. So who are the eBay guaranteed fit fantasy picks of the week? Let's go to Charlotte. We talked about their strong schedule. We talked about the absence of LaMelo Ball, and we talked about the new starter Vasilije Micic. And now Trey Mann's questionable. Micic is going to put up strong double-digit scoring. He's going to get assists. Steals okay. But more importantly, he's just going to have the ball a lot, and he's going to be getting minutes. And you just can't leave Vasilije Micic, who's 86% available, sitting on any waiver wire. When we get to the 2-game week, we get to it. Who cares? That is 10 days away. We add Micic for now, and we just use the value that we've got in front of us. So is that winning your fantasy championship? Honestly, it's going to go a fairly long way to pushing you there, I think. So eBay Motors knows that championship team is about each player being a perfect fit, and I think Micic can be that perfect fit. It's the same with your vehicle. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you can make sure that your ride stays running smoothly. Brake kits, LED headlights, roof racks, bumpers, whatever it is your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber and not cash. If I had access to eBay Motors here, maybe my car roof wouldn't still be sitting unrepaired. Fingers crossed, next 3 weeks is getting done. It's been a long time, man. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. This is where I lose out because eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to US customers, eligible items only, and exclusions apply. Okay, let's look at the next game here. It is the Orlando Magic and the New York Knicks. For the Magic, Jalen Suggs was great last game. I do believe that Suggsy is a must-roster player. There are fluctuations in his game for sure, but he's turned into a really reliable shooter, and he's very clearly their number one guard over Cole Anthony, over Markelle Fultz, over Gary Harris. He's that guy. And I like what he brings. For the Knicks, well, actually, I don't know. Why did I go on my radar first? I shouldn't have. I should have told you the schedule. The Suggs part, just put that in 2 minutes later. Orlando, Friday, Sunday, and then 3 games next week. But they don't play Monday, Tuesday. That's not ideal. Wednesday, Friday, Sunday is their schedule next week. The Knicks play Friday, Sunday this week, and they've also got 3 games next week. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. But that's a better 3-game schedule than the Magic's 3-game schedule. Wendell Carter Jr. is questionable. He missed the last game. I thought that might have just been a back-to-back rest. That's a little concerning. If he is out, both Mo Wagner and Goga Bitadze become stream guys. For the Knicks, Julius Randle remains out. It doesn't feel like he is close to returning. And it is the same with Mitchell Robinson. He does not feel like close to returning either. But OG Anunoby does. We're listing him doubtful for this game, so that means he's coming back in the next couple. And it seems like Jalen Brunson, the burner, it seems like he will be available. He did most of practice, I believe, so it looks like he's only going to miss that 1 game. Still might not, but he could come back. For the Knicks, Precious Achiuwa's minutes continue to be down. They've been leaning into more Bojan Bogdanovic. Now, is that because Brunson was out and they needed offense? That's what we need to find out, isn't it? We need to see, is Precious a 22-minute guy? Because honestly, in 22 minutes, he's not a 12-team league player. I'm not dropping him yet. And when OG comes back, he's going to be really battling for that. But we need to see what they do with him. Guys getting boosted, well, it could be Wagner, it could be Bitadze, that's Mo Wagner, it could be Bitadze in Orlando with the status of Wendell Carter up in the air. And Deuce McBride could also get a real boost in New York if Brunson does happen to be out. But obviously the big boost guys are DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, and Precious Achiuwa. But I'm going to guess that most of those guys, all of those guys, I would hope, are rostered at this point. The next game is just stacked full of injuries. It's Atlanta, it's Memphis. The Hawks go Friday, Sunday, and then another team that doesn't play Monday, Tuesday next week. They go Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. The Grizzlies play Friday, Sunday, and then also only 3 games next week. They got a Tuesday, Wednesday back-to-back, plus a Saturday game. I would be doubtful that Luke Kennard plays both Tuesday and Wednesday. I'd be doubtful that Jaren Jackson plays both Tuesday and Wednesday as well. So there could be some opportunities open up. Also, Matthew Hurt, his 10-day contract ended today, so he's not a part of that rotation, which does help the floor value of guys like Santi Aldama and Jake LaRavia. Who's out? Trae Young and Yekara Okongwu. I'm going to go ahead and say that Jalen Johnson's out. We haven't got an update on that yet. I'm just going to come in and double check that nothing's come through. Nope. We don't have the update on that yet. So I'm going to guess that Jalen's out. And Kobe Buffkin was sitting on the bench in a boot yesterday. So I'm going to guess he is out as well, although that's not official. Yuta Watanabe missed the last couple with an injury for the Grizzlies. I'm going to label him questionable. Scottie Pippen will be out. Brandon Clark will be out. I haven't included the others. Derrick Rose, Zaire Williams, they're not coming back. Right? I'm not going to put them on this list anymore. Desmond Bane and Marcus Smart, I don't think they're coming back, but I'm less certain. Like, I'm 100% certain Rose isn't playing. I'm 99% certain Zaire Williams isn't playing. I'm like 97 on Bane and Smart. I don't think they're coming back, but I'm not in, this list could be gigantic. As for Jordan Goodwin and Trey Jemison, I don't know. Goodwin has played 3 games on his 2-way contract. He can get to a maximum. That depends on your sort of math and calculations. I can't find an official source on it. I believe Goodwin could get to an official max of either 14 or 15 games. It's no more than that. It's either 14 or 15 is my understanding of Jordan Goodwin's 2-way. And he's played 3. So he's either got 11 or 12 games left. So I think that he will probably get all of the run through April and probably the last week or so of March. And while these guys are around, Kennard and Conchar and these sort of guys playing, they're going to try and preserve those games and then let him have full run at things towards the end of the year. That's a solid roto stash. It's really hard in head-to-head leagues, and we just don't know. He might just pop up and play in this game. I don't know, Jordan Goodwin, but we'll find out. For the Hawks, obviously no Jalen, so I think DeAndre Hunter's going to have to play more. Now, last game he played 25 minutes, and Quinn Snyder said, he's on a minutes restriction. Okay, that's cool. 2 games before that, he did play 29. So we're not going to rule out that he can play 29, 30 minutes here. He's had 28, I think, 3 games ago. So he can do it. It's not the minutes limit isn't 25 because he played 29 2 games ago. So Hunter should get a larger role. So should Sadiq Bey. For the Grizzlies, this guy, Jake LaRavia, he was someone that coming into the draft goes, oh, wow, okay. Look at all these numbers he's putting up. He's a big man who blocks shots, gets steals, gets rebounds, gets assists, shoots threes, and scores. Like he's this unbelievable multi-category fantasy guy. Like he had great numbers coming out of college. Very similar numbers, honestly, to Brandon Pajemski, just in a bigger body. And then he's been useless in the NBA. Apart from the last couple of games. And we're getting double-doubles out of LaRavia. He is bringing some defensive stats. He is passing. It's not a great schedule. I think he's probably worth an ad, at least for Friday. And then, we'll wait for them to completely screw us over, but he's probably worth a look. Bruno Fernando is getting a boost at the moment. He played more than Clint Capella last game, so if you're looking for field goal percentage, and blocks, then Fernando's there. He's getting that boost. And Kennard is getting that boost because I don't know that they're going to play Goodwin, and we know that Scottie Pippen remains out, so Luke is getting that opportunity. He is at least streamable, but it is more back-end, and he's going to have extreme risk, I would say, of sitting one of those Tuesday, Wednesday back-to-backs next week. The Miami Heat and the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Heat come into this one on a back-to-back. They're playing Thursday. They also go Friday, Sunday, so they've got 3 games in 4 nights starting on Thursday. And then next week, that's only 3 games. But like a few different teams, they don't play Monday or Tuesday. They go Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. The Thunder also play Friday, Sunday this week. And then next week, it's Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So another 3-game team next week. Hero will be out. Kevin Love will be out. Pig Williams has missed the last couple for the Thunder. I say he's questionable. While Bismack Biyombo had that fainting issue on the bench, they seem to say it's nothing significant, but I don't think he's going to play. It doesn't really matter anyway. What's on my radar here? Josh Giddey played 30 minutes last game, and that is the first time he has done that in weeks. So, is this the new thing? Is he a 30-minute a night guy again? Because if he is, then he's a clear 12-team guy. He just hasn't been that player for 60 games this season. So that's what we need to watch. Who's getting boosted? Well, Duncan Robinson's getting massively boosted. While Tyler Hero is out, Robinson's a very clear must-roster player over Martin, over Jaquez. Lou Dort, I guess, sort of getting boosted, but the Thunder are just so intact, it's hard for me to find a clear name to put there. The next game is the Houston Rockets and the Portland Trail Blazers. The Rockets go Friday, Sunday, and then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, so a 3-game week, not super strong. The Blazers have an amazingly strong week here. They play Friday, Saturday back-to-back. And then next week, they go Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. Same as the Hornets, 6 games, 9 nights for the Blazers. The problem with the Blazers, we don't know who is going to play. Jeff Green missed the last one for the Rockets. They went a little bit of Jock Landale instead. I'm going to put Green questionable. I don't expect that Scoot is playing in this game, but they said he could come back on the weekend. He wouldn't come back and play the back-to-back, so I would expect that Scoot misses Friday and might play Saturday. And then you probably get him back for the 4 games next week, or at least 3 of those games. I don't expect Brogdon back any point during this time. Tamani Kamara, I think, will play in the Friday, Saturday games. He's got an illness. He's questionable. DeAndre Ayton, I don't know. I don't think that he plays, but I'm not feeling super confident about that. I don't think that Ayton's done for the year, but I do think he will be in a few weeks. I'm just not sure. I think he comes back next week, Ayton, and then sits down again. Same as Jeremy Grant and Simons later on. So the Rockets recently have just been pumping everything into Alperen Şengün. They sort of changed what they do. Like at one point it was Van Vliet, and then they went to a little stretch of Jollibee Jalen, and now it's back to Şengün. His usage is way up. He's putting up big numbers. Does that continue? And then for the Blazers, Anthony Simons is getting like 41 minutes a night. Now 41 minutes a night for Simons is great. It's completely unsustainable long term, but they're giving him that playing time. And while Scoot is out and Brogdon is out, he's going to probably continue to do that. Jeremy Grant's also getting a lot of minutes. Who's boosted at the moment? Well, they're just saying to Cam Whitmore, the Rockets are, come off the bench and take every shot in the world. He's going at like 30 usage. He doesn't do anything else, but he scores and he hits some threes. And if that's useful for your team, well, it's useful. The minutes just aren't that high. And then for Portland, Chris Murray is getting boosted. With the absence of Scoot, with the absence of Brogdon, with the potential absence of Kamara, we're getting Murray starting quite a few games, and so is Delano Banton. And Murray is starting to put it together. And with a schedule this good, 6 games in 9 nights, I don't know that Murray starts all of those, but I wouldn't rule that out. He's at least somewhat interesting, especially like in a 14-team format. There's a little bit of interest there for old mate Chris Murray. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. When you are hiring for your small business, you want to find the quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you got to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. Hiring can be frustrating. I used to do it for many, many years, and sifting through applications for people who have no business applying for the job is annoying. And LinkedIn Jobs can get you the right people in front of you fast. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. It has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals that you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all of that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. 22.5 million small businesses have used LinkedIn for hiring, so why don't you become one of those as well? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. That is linkedin.com/lockedonnba to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Okay, so the final game of the day is the Milwaukee Bucks and the Los Angeles Lakers. The Bucks have the Friday-Sunday combo this week, and then Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday next week, so 3 games, while the Lakers stink. Friday and Sunday this week is fine. That's pretty solid. But then next week, only 2 games, and they go Wednesday and Saturday. So 2 games off. Look how bad that is. They play 1 game in the first 5 days of next week. Monday, Tuesday off. Thursday, Friday off. That's terrible. And they play Saturday. I really don't think we're seeing Chris Middleton on Friday, maybe on Sunday. I'm not going to hold my breath. LeBron James left last game early. They were getting smashed. Said it was his ankle. Look, I think he plays, and they have a pretty light run of things here, so I think he's... Look, there's 2 ways of looking at this. They've got a light run of games coming up, so the stress on his body shouldn't be too much, or he could completely rest some of these games, and then they don't miss out on him actually playing a large number of games, because him not playing makes it harder for them to win. If he was to sit a week where they had 5 games in 8 nights, well, that means that there's a chance that they lose 5 games. If he sits this period, which is 10 days, well, let's say in a 10-day period, normally you have 6 or 7 games, right? If he sits this 10-day period, they miss 4 games. So it is a difference. And I don't know how they're going to approach it. Anyway, he might not sit at all. Wood will be out. Vanderbilt will be out. Vincent will be out as well. On the Bucks, Bobby Portis is getting a little bit more usage at the moment, so that's something to pay attention to, especially with Brook Lopez somewhat struggling. Well, for the Lakers, D'Angelo Russell was terrible last game. He continues to be like very up and down, a guy that can get hot and look really good when he does it, and then sort of fade into the nothingness when he's poor. And a lot of the time he is poor. I know you guys think I'm biased. He can put up numbers. I just don't think he's a very productive player in terms of winning basketball. But the minutes are there most of the time, and that is leading to good fantasy numbers. Bobby Portis has said he's being boosted at the moment. They are getting a little bit more running through him with some struggles from Lopez, so that's something to watch. While Rui Hachimura was great in terms of scoring and efficiency, we know he doesn't do anything else apart from that. But if LeBron is out, he's going to have to do even more scoring, which does put him firmly on that radar, at least for the Friday-Sunday combo. Of course, next week with so few games on, 1 game in 5 nights, you are 100% not holding on to Rui Hachimura in that sort of scenario. So, who's got the back-to-backs Friday, Saturday? It is only 2 teams, and both of them are bad. It is the Hornets, it is the Blazers. You've got to be a little bit worried about Trey Mann with the groin strain, sitting one of those, but the Micic value's through the roof. Grant Williams, Nick Richards, great numbers there. Davis Bertans. Maybe he doesn't play with his knee, but he could. There's some good value there. For the Blazers, well, it's all going to depend on who plays, doesn't it? But Chris Murray, Tamani Kamara, Matisse Thybulle getting millions of steals in that period. Dwop Reith if Ayton is out. We've got to find those injury updates, but you might get a lot of value across the back-to-back, especially what if they don't play Simons in one of them? That's possible too, which could open up a lot more. Let's look at the next 4 days after that. So that is the rest of this week plus Monday next week. There are 3 teams that go 3 and 4. It's Charlotte and Portland, like I just talked about, but also Cleveland has 3 games in 4 nights. So your streams of Isaac Okoro, your stream in deeper formats of Dean Wade or George Niang, they're going to get boosted here. There are 3 teams who stink in this period. It is Utah, it is Sacramento, and it's Indiana. So fringe guys, Andy Nembhard, Aaron Nesmith, Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes, Bryce Sensabaugh, Taylor Hendricks. You always want to look that when you're making a waiver move, if you can get +2 extra games from that transaction in as fewer days as possible, you do it. So if you're in the playoffs, you're adding an Isaac Okoro for Kevin Huerter, it's the easiest move you'll ever make. Vasilije Micic for Aaron Nesmith, easy move. 2 extra games over 4 days with 1 waiver move. That is what you're looking to do. Let's look at what happens over the next 6 days. Now that spreads it out. We're still looking at +2s, but +2s over 6 days is not like an ideal use of that time, but you might get something. You got 4 teams with the 4 games in 6 nights starting Friday. It's Charlotte, Cleveland, Memphis, and Portland. So the 3 teams we mentioned plus Memphis. If I knew what was happening with Memphis, that would be great. The problem here is that does Jaron play all of them? Probably not. Does Goodwin play any of them? I don't know. Kennard? I don't know. I feel good-ish about Aldama, good-ish about LaRavia. So if you're looking to stream those guys in, there's a nice little chunk of games coming up. On the downside, Phoenix and Utah, 2 games in the next 6 nights. So switching out Royce O'Neal, Eric Gordon for Santi Aldama, Jake LaRavia, and any of those other names I mentioned probably makes a bit of sense there. If we look at 7 days, and I don't normally do a 7-day, but it's important because Portland plays 5 games in the next 7 days. We've frothed over the Brooklyn Nets having a 5-game week. Now, this doesn't perfectly sit within your traditional head-to-head weekly schedule, and that is very important in the playoffs because obviously your matchup is a week. But if you're not quite in the playoffs or you're going to win comfortably and we head into next week, getting a Blazers guy in 5 from 7 is strong, especially if you can switch a Jazz guy out. They play 2 games in 7 nights. The Blazers play 5. Matisse Thybulle for Chris Dunn, absolute no-brainer. Absolute. You added Taylor Hendricks. You've got Walker Kessler even. Honestly, I don't know if he's going to play. And even if he does, it's 2 games in a week. You might consider moving on from that. It's hard to do, but you might consider that. The 8-game stretch. There are 3 teams that play 5 games in 8 nights. That's Friday to Friday. Charlotte, the Clippers, and the Blazers. So Charlotte and the Blazers are coming up a lot here. But there are a bunch of teams that play only 3 games over that time. Brooklyn, Golden State, Indiana, the Lakers, the Wolves, the Kings, and the Jazz. Now, getting 2 extra games across 8 days for 1 waiver move is not really a strong use of that waiver ad, I don't think. But it is worth mentioning just in case. Who are your good streams for Friday for Yahoo Points Leagues? We're going to start with Karis LeVert. I've got Trey Mann there. Now that he's questionable, I'm not sure. Kyle Anderson, Santi Aldama, Kelly Oubre, and Vasilije Micic. If Naz Reid is available, he's an option. But again, I do not believe that he will start. He could. I don't believe he will. ESPN points a lot of the similar names. Karis LeVert, Trey Mann, Micic, Kyle Anderson, Santi Aldama, and Nick Richards. For category leagues, let's look at the scoring categories. For points, we're going with Kelly Oubre Jr., deeper leagues to Corey Kispert. 3-pointers, Davis Bertans and Sam Merrill. Both of these guys are under 10% rostered. They're available everywhere. And there's some real good value. And Bertans, Hornets, good schedule. Merrill's also got the nice short-term schedule for the Cavs as well. They're just available everywhere. I know Merrill was terrible the last 2 games. Not sure that holds, though. Big man stats. If you're looking for rebounds, Nick Richards, he is still available everywhere. I know he's not awesome, but there's enough here. And Santi Aldama is a good rebound option. For your blocks, Nick Richards comes up. Bruno Fernando is in that mix as well, who can get you 2 blocks very easily. For guard stats, well, the easy one there is Vasilije Micic. That is a must-roster player. I've said this many times. And Kyle Anderson will get you those assists. For steals, Amen Thompson, yes, only 20 minutes a night, not a must-roster player, good steal streamer. And then Trey Mann, if he plays. Hopefully he does. For your percentage streamers, well, Nick Richards is coming up again. And then Jericho Sims for the deeper formats with Hartenstein still on that minutes restriction. While for free throws, it's DeAndre Hunter and Davis Bertans for the deeper formats. Bertans, an excellent shooter, obviously. If we look at streams of the day, there's a lot of Hornets there. 10 team is Nick Richards. 12 team is Trey Mann. 14 team is Vasilije Micic. And 16 team is Dean Wade. Now, the reason, like you say, well, why is Micic a 14-team streamer? It's mainly just because of the way the percentages work. Like, he's still under 20%. He's 14% rostered. Like, Micic is a very clear... he's even a 10-team ad at the moment, I think. But all of those guys, Richards, Mann, Micic, great schedule. They're all 12-team at minimum guys. And then Dean Wade is your 16-team guy. Really nice short-term schedule there for the Cavs as well. And that, guys, will bring us to the end of today's Look Ahead show. Go ahead and thumb this video up. If you are here on YouTube, ring the bell and leave your comments down below. And let's hit that subscribe button. And on audio, be a double banger. Come watch the video as well. Video guys, go listen to the audio. Leave your 5-star rating over on Spotify and your podcast platform of choice. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.